Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for 10 to 14 days for today's video. Day 10 will take us to the 2nd of January. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe I'll try in a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. So that gets us into the second half of January. I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just say back first, video today was our 6-day UK weather forecast. We've also released the EC46 day out as well, so please check out those two videos, and like, share, subscribe on all of today's videos and content. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. No weekend forecast today, because we do back tomorrow for you. Always do a weekend forecast on Christmas Eve, covering the full Christmas to New Year period. Bit of a tradition at GavsWeatherVids, so that will be up tomorrow for you. But I'll talk about what's happening over the rest of Christmas, you know, at the end of the video. Had a little procedure, a little operation at NGH this morning, so they've reduced the scarring on my neck. Maybe remembers ongoing storyline with Gaz Health last year. So I had a mouth cancer, and the upshot of that was I had to have an operation on the mouth, and I also had to have a neck dissection. I had to cut the neck. And it all went fine, you know, and I've been cancer-free ever since. But the scar on my neck developed quite a thickened patch of tissue that was caused all sorts of problems when I was trying to shave, you know, and cutting it and bleeding, making it very sore, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, the upshot was I had to go to NGH this morning, have a little operation to take away some of the scarring. And it all went absolutely fine. It's only local anaesthetic, so I was in and out within a couple of hours. And as ever, thank you so much to all of the wonderful staff at Northampton General Hospital, by the fabulous maxillofacial surgeon, Mr. Amarali, and his wonderful team. Thank you so much to everybody NGH. I've told them about GavsWeatherVids, so we might have a little watch of this one later on today. So thank you so much to my lovely team there at the Max Facts department, NGH, and thank you to all of you as well for all of your messages of concern and whatnot. Right, okay, well, before we do anything else, I'm going to tell you about the WX Awards. So the WX Awards is a yearly awards ceremony that always appears at this time of the year. They're giving out awards to people who've made contribution to the weather community, to the WX community over the past 12 months. GavsWeatherVids is up for 2 awards. We are up for Best YouTuber, and we're also up for Best Meme. Well, it's kind of 1.5 awards, because I've said that for the Best Meme, if we win that, I'll split it with our good friend Iceman, who actually created the meme based on my lovely face as used to be back a couple of years ago. So if we win that, then I shall split it with Iceman. But yeah, we're up for 2 awards. Best YouTuber, Best Meme. Though, if you would like to vote for GavsWeatherVids and in the other categories as well, then all you need to do is come to wxawards.co.uk. The link is in the description with this video. Click the vote just there, and then you will be able to vote in all of the categories, including you'll be able to cast a couple of votes for GavsWeatherVids. And who would want to do that? Voting closes on the 27th of December, so day after Boxing Day, and the winner and the results will be announced. Winners will be announced on New Year's Day, I believe. And thank you so much to Dan and to Chaley for doing this. I think it's a lovely thing that they're doing. You know, it's able to bring the community together, and that's lovely. Thank you so much to Dan and to Chaley for sorting all of that out. Okay, right, let's crack on with the video, mate. So we're going to start off with Stratospheric Latest development. Just see what's going on with this strat warming. This is the latest GFS 6Z. So again, the blue and purple colours here. These are the cold temperatures at 10 HPA in the stratosphere over the Arctic and the North Pole. You see the warming event is beginning to start happening now down across southern, southeastern parts of Europe and in towards the Black Sea as well, where we've got that green-yellow area. Watch how that develops over the next few days and pushes northwards. So there it comes, moving up into Russia and Siberia over the Christmas period. So by the time we get to the new year, we've got a large scale warming taking place, you know, from the Black Sea, going all the way up in towards Russia and Siberia as well, extending around to the Pacific side. That it doesn't, I mean, it's because of a projection for that doesn't look very big, but that is covering many thousands of miles, that warm area. And you can see from the orange colours there, it is becoming quite an intense warming as well over parts of Siberia. So let's see what happens after that. Well, the warming continues to intensify over Siberia. So we get into January, the red colours are appearing. That's temperature reaching southern stratospheric warming temperature levels. Begin to stretch out the polar vortex at its roots. These blue and purple colours, they're starting to become a little bit stretched. So then the warming moves from Siberia in towards the Arctic as well, and we get displacement event of the polar vortex. So you see how the blue colours are being pushed down into Canada, North America, into North Atlantic, and into Northern Europe as well. It's what we call a displacement event. Now we're looking to see whether we send the zona wind into reverse. If we send the zona wind at 10 HPA into reverse, then we have had a technical major sudden stratospheric warming event. I'm not sure if it's quite enough to send the zona wind into reverse. It's certainly a very intense warming, but it does start to relatively quickly fade out and become weaker as we get through the first week of January. So whether it's quite a 7 wind into reverse over the North Pole, I'm not sure. It is a significant warming though, causing a displacement of the PV, and if it comes off, it will weaken the polar vortex a lot. The other thing, of course, we're looking for is a split. No sign of that on this particular GFS run up to the 8th of January. Let's go through some of the GFS ensembles. This is the control run. So again, this one producing a very significant warming of the stratosphere. Maintaining that warming a little bit better, I think, actually, than the operation. And notice that looks like the PV could be about to split there, I think. Notice how the PV not only becomes stretched, but also starts to, what will that word be? Like pull apart. So you see a deep area blue going off into North America, deep area blue going off into Western Europe. That looks like the PV might be about to split there on the control run if we could go any further. It's certainly under a lot of pressure there. Ensemble member number 1 is looking like that. So again, large scale warming, stretching out the polar vortex, no split. That one, ensemble member number 2, looks like that. Oh, ensemble member 2 going for a split. Look at that. Yes, that's happening on ensemble member number 2. So one lobe of blue is heading off into Northern Europe, another lobe of blue moving off into North America. That's definitely splitting the PV there by the 7th of January. I think that's the first ensemble member or operation run that we assume that's actually gone for a definite split. That is a definite split of the PV that is taking place there. So the zona wind would have reversed, and we are splitting the PV on ensemble member number 2. Let's have a look at ensemble member number 3, see what that one's doing. So that one is stretching the polar vortex to its limits, but not quite splitting. Ensemble member number 4 looks like that. That's more like the operational run. PV under pressure, definitely, but you know, weakening the warming quite quickly. Ensemble member number 5 is looking like that. So displacement event with ensemble member number 5, ensemble member number 6 looking like that. Now that's a little bit weaker with the warming, I think. Displacement event again though with that one. Ensemble member number 7 looking like that. So that's very close to a split as well, I think, even though the polar vortex is displaced as much, but it is really being stretched a lot with that one. Ensemble member number 8 looks like this. So displacement event, ensemble member number 8. Ensemble member number 9 looks like that. Again, displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 10. Again, a little bit weaker maybe with the warming with that one. Ensemble member number 11. What do you make of that one? Again, displacement event there. Ensemble member number 12 looks like that. Displacement event. But notice the warming is sinking down into Canada and affected all parts of Greenland as well. So a little bit different with the warming area with that one. Displacement event anyway. Ensemble member number 13 looks like this. Again, displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 14. I'm going to go just there. That one's very, very close to splitting the polar vortex. It maintains the warming over the pole itself as well, and it is really close to splitting the PV there by the time we get through to the 8th of January. Ensemble member number 15, looking like that. Ensemble member number 16. Again, looks like that. Ensemble member number 17 is looking like that. Ensemble member number 18. They're all going for a displacement event, definitely. Ensemble member number 18, looking like that. Ensemble member number 19, again, like that. Ensemble member number 20 is doing that. Ensemble member number 21. Doing that. Ensemble member number 22 looks like that. Ensemble member 23 is looking like that. Very close to splitting PB of that one, I think. Ensemble member number 24 looks like that. Ensemble member number 25 looks like that. Displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 26 doing that. Ensemble member number 27 does that. Ensemble member 28, displacement event with that one. Warming maintained right over top of the pole with that one as well. And the PV is under so much pressure, it looks like it will be very close to splitting if we could go on any further with that one, I think. Ensemble member 29, it's like that. And finally, ensemble member number 30, looking like that displacement event. So again, all looking very interesting. So the two, what we can say, but we're definitely going to get a warming. It's actually beginning. The stratospheric warming is actually beginning right now over southern parts of Europe and into the Middle East and whatnot. So that's all going to start developing over the Christmas period. By New Year, a major warming of stratosphere will be taking place over Russia and Siberia. I think we say that with good confidence now. That warming is probably most likely going to penetrate into the Arctic regions as well at 10 HPA in stratosphere. The two questions that we're still going to answer is whether, so that causes a displacement event. It looks very likely you're going to get a displacement event of the polar vortex. The polar vortex has already been a little bit displaced, and that will just get more pronounced actually as we go into the new year. The two questions we're still going to answer is whether this will be enough to send the zone of wind into reverse and hence get a technical sudden stratospheric warming at 10 HPA in stratosphere over the Arctic North Pole, and the other question is whether we will just have a displacement event or whether it will become a split of the polar vortex. They're the two questions we still don't know, and we shall keep you updated over the next few days. Of course we will. Right, let's move on to sector temperature then. The CT is now sitting at 6.3. That is 1.8 degrees above 61 to 99 average. So turning to a very mild month, despite that exceptionally cold start. Remember, for the first day of the month, it's actually under 5 degrees below average. But we've completely offset that and gone way above average now to nearly 2 degrees above normal. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 22nd of December. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Looking at London today, red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We are above average at the moment. We'll stay that way into the Christmas period, gradually coming down for the upper air temperatures over and after Christmas. It's a bit of a slow process, but by the time you get to the new year, it's actually gone a little bit cooler than average. So you've got to envisage that the red line here, because it breaks on New Year's Day. So you've got to envisage a red line here will probably be doing something a little bit like that. Would be a bit up and down slightly, but it's going to be in that rough position. So from the new year onwards, it looks like the ensemble mean, if the white line is trending under the 30-year average. So not particularly cold probably as we go through the first week of January, but probably a little bit on the cool side anyway, and could be colder than that further northwards. Precipitation wise, going to be quite a lot of dry weather for the next couple of days. Down in the south and southeast will be more rainy in the north and west, but over and after Christmas start to be more on central. You have got some big precipitation spikes there as you move through the new year period and into early January. So plenty more wet weather to come. Snow Row looks like that. Not much happening for London, to be honest. few spikes around the new year, a few more through the first week of January. Doesn't look all that encouraging. If we go so a bit further northwards to Scotland, though, but it does look a little bit more encouraging. This is North Berwick, in East Lothian, I think that is. And we can see we have got more in the way of snow spikes when we get further north, especially after Christmas, between Christmas and the New Year. Temperature anomalies from the 23rd to the 31st of December above average, especially so for England and Wales. Most parts of Europe looking very mild, but Scandinavia looks cold. And precipitation anomalies from the 23rd December to the 31st are coming out average or wetter than normal. Latest wind from that from earthnullschool.net showed back withdrawing from a southwesterly wind from the Azores today, so very mild air wafting into the country, and that will be maintained at least until Christmas Day, when it will start to turn a little bit cooler. This is how the latest UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Boxing Day. Starting to bring the wind in from more of a west or northwesterly direction then. So beginning to go cooler, especially in the north. The next area of low comes back in when we get through to Wednesday. That brings further wet, windy weather through the second half of next week. So 28% between Christmas and New Year, looking very unsettled. Lots of low pressure in the ascendancy will bring plenty of rain with it. That gets out of the way for Friday the 29th, going to under a transient ridge, slightly colder with that, and then the next area of low heading in through Saturday the 30th, that brings further wet weather with it. A very unsettled Christmas to New Year week. Icon, again with those northwesterly winds as we go into Boxing Day, so a little bit drier and cooler on Boxing Day. Low pressure coming back in from the Atlantic into Wednesday, bringing bouts of rain in with it. The second half next week looks very unsettled with low pressure dominating, so more rain to come into the New Year weekend, starting to cool down a little bit from the northwest. We get this little transient ridge building, so perhaps some frost developing by the time we get through to next weekend. -5 celsius ice firm is there across the country, so pretty chilly air as we go into the New Year weekend. And with more low pressure starting to head our way into that cold air, things might get interesting from a snow perspective in the northern half of the country, depending on how quickly that low is able to dislodge the cooler air. This is the KMA, the new model from South Korea. Again, we look a little bit on the chilly side, but drier on Boxing Day, and then we get low pressure coming in through the 27th, 28th. That's a deep area of low pressure. That's not only being heavy rain, but also gale or even severe gale force winds in with it through the middle part of next week. Beyond that, heading up towards the New Year, very unsettled conditions continue. On New Year's Eve, we start to send low pressure eastwards, and we begin to pull down some cooler or colder air from the north. So as you go into the New Year, we're looking colder then with northerly winds, and low pressure starts getting pushed away to the south then. So we get into the opening days of January, low pressure sinking back down towards Biscay. Gradually as we go into the New Year, it looks like a colder spell is developing there with the KMA. So into the first week of January, turning colder, potentially wintry for northern and eastern regions with winds in from the north. Whether that will be a response to the strat warming, I don't know. It's probably a bit early to be expecting any sort of response to that strat warming. So it's probably just, a random colder spell, colder snap developing there. GFS midnight run, again, bringing something a little bit cooler and drier as we go through into Boxing Day, but not for long. By Wednesday 27th, we've got low pressure heading back in from off the Atlantic, turning wet and windy then for the middle part of next week, very wet and windy actually. And then into the New Year weekend, well, low pressure keeps on coming, so that's New Year's Eve, deep low pressure over the coast. I think the central pressure of that is going down to about 970 millibars, something like that. So very deep area of low pressure over top of the country for New Year's Eve. That low still with us into New Year's Day as well. Heading out beyond that, low pressure starts to move eastwards. We begin to pull in something a little bit cooler from the north and from the northwest. So going on further through the first week of January, it turns drier under this little transient ridge, but it also starts turning rather cooler as well. So as high pressure develops, we could start getting some night frost and whatnot developing through the first week of January. That's how we could get to the end of the GFS midnight run under high pressure, mostly dry, probably quite cold, with a risk of frost and fog. This is how the GFS 6Z is looking in comparison. Again, a drier, cooler day on Boxing Day after a very mild Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. By the 27th of December, by Wednesday, low pressure back in, bringing lots of wet and windy weather piling up from the southwest with it. Major low pressure in the North Sea by the 28th of December, next Thursday. That brings the wind in from the north. It's a gale force, or even a severe gale force, normally we've got going on there. So a bit of a post-Christmas storm on the GFS 6Z. We're heading to the end of next week and next weekend, and more low pressure dries in from off Atlantic, further bouts of wet weather to come. Heading up towards day 10, so this is New Year's Eve, but low pressure starting to die southwards, something a little bit colder beginning to come in around the back side of the low from the north and the northeast. So as we get to New Year's Day, actually we're looking rather cold there, rather chilly anyway, could be cold, and winds are in from a northwesterly direction, possibly bringing night frost and wintry showers. Day 10, 2nd of January, trying to move this area of low pressure back in from off the Atlantic. That low actually gets diverted down to the Bay of Biscay, and we keep the wind in from quite a cold northeasterly direction. Then high pressure develops over the country, bringing the risk of frost and fog later on in the first week of January. That's how we'll get to the end of the GFS 6A. Quite interesting chart. Heights are rising to our north and northeast in the Norwegian Sea around Scandinavia. Lower pressure trying to come in from off the Atlantic. That could be starting to try and bring some wetter and windier weather in with it. And of course, if there's a battle between cold air to the northeast and mild air to the west-southwest, all sorts of fun games are possible. But as it's 384 hours away, 8th of January, it's too far away to take that seriously. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment? Let us know what you think about this and all of our video. Don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. It's the eve of Christmas Eve, everybody. Christmas Eve. And you're tuning into GavsWeatherVids on your Christmas Eve. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much everybody. 8 subscribers going to get us to 17,500. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe, that would be awesome. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Okay, GM, again with cooler but also somewhat drier weather on Boxing Day. Low pressure bringing wet and windy weather through the middle part of next week, relatively mild too. Into the New Year weekend, the low pressure keeps on coming eventually shifts away towards Denmark, so by New Year's Eve we begin to pull in something a little bit colder from the north. Not for long though, we're back into milder, wetter and windy weather again with the gem by day 10, which would be 2nd of January. And then the east gem looking like that for Boxing Day, somewhat cooler and fresher, and winds in from the northwest. Low pressure then piling up from the southwest into Wednesday, bringing a wet and windy spell through the middle of next week. Could be quite cold on the northern side of that low. That could bring some snow in towards Scotland, actually, with that. Otherwise, it's heavy rain, though, but looking at with that area of low. Before the low moves over to Denmark by Friday 29th, we bring down a colder northerly across the country. So this area of low pressure in the Atlantic, that starts diving southeastwards. So again, on the northern side of that low, possibly a little bit of a wintry risk as you head toward the New Year weekend. Then a transient ridge for New Year's Eve, bringing a mostly dry but probably relatively cold day for low pressures back in again for New Year's Day and the day after day 10, 2nd of January, looking wet and windy once again with winds in from the northwest. The black line is the jet stream, by the way, and notice certainly from around Boxing Day or the 27th onwards, the black line is trending to our south, so we are going on to the cool side of the jet next week. So you will notice a drop in temperature from the very mild conditions we've got at the moment, and we'll have, certainly for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, you will feel that drop in the temperature, I think, that's taking place through next week as we go on the cold side of the jet, even though it will be still a fundamentally Atlantic driven and unsettled pattern. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TibetShow.com. So, there has been some snow in the far north today, but most of that will be turning back to rain this afternoon. Lots of wet weather and also quite windy as well, piling in to much of the country through Christmas Eve, especially in these western regions. And then on into Christmas Day, well, more rain to come, this time focused on England and Wales, really. Could be some wintry showers coming in towards Scotland there as well on Christmas Day. So chance of a white Christmas really confined to the highest ground of central and southern Scotland, to be honest, about wintry showers possibly arriving in the far north by Christmas night. All that wet weather begins to clear away overnight, Christmas Day into Boxing Day, turning drier for a while. No, Boxing Day a mostly dry day, but by the end of it, heavy rain will be returning to the southwest. So that wet weather then piles up from the south as we go through into 27th December. Notice there's a little bit of snow on the northern edge of that, coming into Wales and the Midlands. Not sure about that, but as it gets further northwards in towards northern England and Scotland, then it does make sense a little bit more. Some of that could turn to snow. Very wet for England and Wales around the middle part of next week. Some very wet weather to come then. Snow, you'll notice, through Scotland down the Pennine chain, potentially. Wintry to the second half next week, and in the far north, very wet down the south. Then more wet weather coming in with this low, but it's diving southeastwards as we get to the end of next week. Notice some of that rain starts to turn to snow through Wales and the Midlands there. That's the 29th to the 30th of next Friday to Saturday. Even a little bit of snow down into the south. I'm a little bit unsure about that. I doubt that will verify, but we will keep you posted on that anyway. And then into New Year's Eve, well, wet and windy weather coming off the Atlantic, a little bit of snow next to that on the northern edge, and that's all we can get to day 10, 2nd of January. Then wintry showers into the northwest. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensembles today for day 10 from the Icelandic Med Topic. Gets us to the 2nd of January. 22 members of the ECM Ensembles with lots of low pressure over the country. And so we're bringing in unsettled conditions. We are quite cool with the air with that. The air is coming out of Greenland into that area of low pressure. So it's not a mild low. It's actually quite a cool low. That one. 15 colder with low pressure more to the east, high pressure just to the south of Greenland. That will bring in more of a northwesterly type flow. And then 14 with a mid-Atlantic ridge, some higher pressure towards North Scandinavia and some low pressure to our east. So that could bring the wind in from more of a northeasterly direction. So that's probably the coldest option, but only 14 going in that direction. None of them are particularly mild, though, it has to be said. All of the options, even the majority option, which include the operational runner, was just established. That does have some wintry conditions at times, so even the majority option is relatively cool with the setup. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. They look quite interesting. So 17 members of the ECM Ensembles with high pressure just to our west and southwest. That's going to be bringing in the wind from off the Atlantic. So that's a relatively mild option. However, we've got an equal number, 17 here, with high pressure centering more to our north, and that will be bringing the wind around from like an easterly direction. That's dry and cold with a risk of overnight frost. And then we got another 17, even more interesting, with high pressure even further northwards around Iceland and Greenland. Low pressure then is centered over the continent, and that will bring the wind in even more from the northeast, and that could potentially not only be a cold snow, but could also be a wintry scenario. This low down in the southeast could well be bringing wintry conditions, depending on how cold the air is, into southern and eastern regions. So watch out as we go through the new year. Things could be about to start getting quite interesting. CFS V2, finally, it's a 500 millibar height size, breaking down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 23rd to 29th of December. So the next week we'll have low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, lots of pancake, and so we'll be bringing in wind from off the Atlantic. Week 2 will be the 30th of December to the 5th of January. Low pressure then through the west of Europe, high pressure out in the Atlantic. We're going on to a cool side of jet with that, so unsettled and rather chilly. Week 3 going to be the 6th to the 12th of January, high pressure to the southwest. That's been drier weather and probably something milder for the southwest as well. And then week 4 is the 13th to the 19th of January. High pressure there, more out to our west, trough low pressure in over northern Europe, so it's just on the periphery of turning cold there. So if we want to turn cold, we've got to get that high pressure northwards, we've got to get high pressure to around there. Get the high pressure to around there, then this low, this trough will back westwards, and that will open the door to colder northeast winds. It's not quite there, but it's not far off. And if we go from week 2, well, let's go from week 2 just here. That's where the high pressure is in week 2. In week 3, high pressure is better. So for weeks 2 to 3, the high pressure pushes towards us, and then in week 4, the high pressure pulls away from us and actually start going into retrograde a little bit. So just a bit of a hint there that into the middle of January things might start getting colder. But as I said, we've got to get that high pressure further north of that, really. We shall see. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much everybody for doing that for us. But another long one today, 30 minutes. Goodness gracious me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have been, please give us a like, and thank you so much everybody. So just to tell you what's coming up over Christmas, shall I do that? So tomorrow, Christmas Eve, going to have a 6 AM UK weather forecast, weekend forecast covering the full Christmas period in detail. I might try and squeeze in a little 10 to 14 dayer tomorrow afternoon as well. Just depends how busy I am tomorrow, but I'll see. And then we're live at around 11 o'clock at night, 10 to 11, something like that, and we'll live stream into the early minutes of Christmas Day as well. So that's going to be a lovely, lovely live stream late on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, 6 AM forecast. We'll have the historic video this year. We're looking at the winter of 1836, 1837. That's going to be epic, epic, epic. So make sure you check that one out. And then if all of that wasn't enough, on Boxing Day, probably no 6 AM forecast, because I don't fancy recording that on Christmas night. I'll take the night off if that's all right with everybody. But we will have a 10 to 14 day later on Boxing Day. So that's the plan for the Christmas period. I hope that's all right with everybody. And again, please like, share, subscribe on all today's videos and content. Thanks so much for doing that. And we'll see you very soon with more. For this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.